Prism and chastised the last times I ain't listened. Now I quit with all the dissing. This mission is strictly hinging on something more than superstition. See what I got in store? Doesn't need revision, no second editions, impressing the best of the critics and testing. So when it comes to the creation of art, when it comes to the representative weight of what words, ideas, and feelings can encompass, I've always been attracted to specifically poetry, to the poetics of language and how we can utilize it to sort of carve that testament, to relay it, right? And so in the composition of 973, when I wrote it about a year ago, I was reflecting a lot on the communities that raised me, Essex County, New Jersey. So I speak specifically of Newark, of Belleville, East Star, and Jervington. I think of the faces, I think of the communities. These are the people that raised me in high school, in my adolescence, immigrant communities, just people pushed to the margins of society. And even beneath all of that, we came together to help one another out. And that's the original core definition of hip hop. It rose out of negligence. The South Bronx was burning in the 70s, and the residents there were being ignored, right? And even amidst all of this turmoil and neglect, they got together to still celebrate. And that celebration was revolution, bro. That celebration is resistance, right? And that's the history, the lineage that hip hop descends from in the modern day. And so when I try to write a rap, or when I try to write a poem, or when I try to utilize my mind, thoughts, and feelings to convey it into language, it is, I feel, an immense responsibility on my end to be a beacon and a representative of those that had faith in me, and especially those that are no longer here, because that weight becomes heavier once you're once that notion is brought to you, the cruelty of life, bro. Things are so sudden, people are so sudden, and you're reminded how temporal a lot of things are, but within that temporality, it almost feels infinite. You can live in that temporality forever. And I try to hopefully relay and communicate that through experimentations of language and what I try to say in my bars, or just what I try to create in my just short time here on earth. Because at times we tend to forget that our time is limited, and I feel art reminds you of that precisely. And there's a lot of joy, a lot of love, but also a lot of exertion, a lot of aches and just sleepless nights, and just like riddled with notions of perfectionism and just like, I don't know, just hyper awareness of what it is that you want to leave, what you want to be known as, what you want to be remembered as, what you want to become in the eyes of yourself and in the eyes of others, and in the eyes of your culture. It's even larger. And so, as you heard in 973, like one of the ending lines, I mentioned immigrant pride. And that's something that's always been so vital and so pretty much a cornerstone of my identity. I was born in Puerto Rico, I came here, and I don't want to think of myself as an immigrant, no. I'm the child of immigrants, Cuban and Puerto Rican in their own sense. And knowing everything that my family's gone through on both sides, what I descend from, what they escaped, and through that escape, you know, you become an inheritance of that legacy, right? And then an inheritance of colonialism and the centuries, and this is a whole bunch of nuance, you know, that I carry dearly within my heart and very heavily. And yeah, I feel that's one of my main drives as an artist, as one who wants to create, just keep the heritage alive and push the culture forward, which is why like I'm obsessed with wanting to do like so many intrinsic rhymes or multi-syllabic rhyme schemes, and then it becomes tricky to enunciate them on some real shit. But it's like I feel if somebody looks at it, and if they feel either some sense of awe or intimidation, that I feel I've pulled it off, right? And that's my answer to the question of what drives me as an artist. Why did I want to create 973 particularly? It's an homage to Jersey. And here, being in Boston, I felt super isolated in my entire time at Emerson College. And that's a very real thing for first-gen students, for students of color, historically marginalized. At the bottom of the socioeconomic bracket, it is a very real thing, psychologically, emotionally, personally. And I wanted to leave some type of a testament that somebody like me can look at, they can listen to and be like, damn, like this is one of my own that I hear, right? And not just me, but whenever I get that feeling when I listen to my peers at Emerson College, I felt like there was a home away from home. And that's the vibe check. Thus begins the triptych of the misfit, his script cryptic. But this dismissed kid's wrists are mystic, with a brisk flick of ink and then a twist of wisdom. There's grist for kingdoms, to sing of wind hums, and kin beginning to feel again, and not give up, with wings as seraphim descending upon the grim slums. Respirating underneath the callous dim sun, the aftermaths of palaces, the chalices are sipped up, the fallacies just tick up, depravities black and glisten is in fact tacked to the backs of dastardly decisions. Let my faculties envision a lack of casualties, or alacrity for packing up the prisons. Y'all stack victims, refract lies through cracked prisms, and chastise the last time that I listen. Nah, quit with all the dissing. This mission is strictly hinging on something more than superstition. See what I've got in store doesn't need revision, no second editions, impressing the best of the critics and testing the limits, addressing all the stress I've kept hidden. Depression's been hitting and prepping for its next exhibition. The weapons I'm picking is blessing both the dead and the living, no end or beginning. The test full of irreverent conditions, resentful for wishing the temples I helped build will diminish. Let's settle this business, defend the position of testaments written back in the day, navigating all the wrath and the pain, activating immaculate strength on the tracks of the last path train heading home, and I'm staring at the rain, simply racking my brains. How can it be that most of my homies, myself included, move through this life scratching at graves? How can it be that every inhibition's a condition of a system attacking our names? It's a battering game, there's no flattery here, but then Saturday came and I'm cracking with fear, cause the fact still remains that the past won't hear after lasting a fame at the hands of our peers. Only slick veneers portrayed by administrations that have switched the gears over the years. Worlds grow a little colder and the pages of a folder go to smolder and events disappear from the consciousness of time. Hate incompetence, chase accomplishments and face the consequence, cause regardless of the pain that you feel, you can only truly heal if you create with confidence. And from the brutal side of suicide with nooses tied, and when the days seem bottomless, my truest light is leading through tonight. The move for me and my crew is to take a compliment like fuck. Can you imagine addressing hidden traumas with acts of compassion? Letting mama sit back for a second, relax as her kids craft homes out of passions. The law of attraction and action. Whenever I write, there's a reason why I care if it's good, because every little line I've written inside of this life and every single publication is a prayer to the hood. Yo, understand the set that I rap, E-double-S-E-X on my breath till the death, no regrets. So in essence, told me stop stressing, I'm lifting the block stretch, it's spanning out from Branch Brook to Watsessing. And in tradition of the cats who drop the hardest raps, Queen Latifah, Fuji's Miss Lauryn Hill, and artifacts, don't forget that ours can snap and Sioux surf when the odds are stacked. Walking through the crude turfs of New Jersey, the bars are back. And rest assured I'm setting precedents, my residence is on another spectrum of intelligence in prime time. My signature's written across the skyline. Ginsberg was a fine guy, but it's time that his lines died. And I'll abide by immigrant pride as the new guidelines. Every single verse is a lifeline. Rest in blessings to the dearly departed. I can never really end if I never really started. I can never really end if I never really started. Dear Jersey. Dear Jersey, what does it mean to fall in love? Tigris and Euphrates, Passaic and the Hudson. My breath, a borrowed rhythm of the street life, the deep nights remind me of me before I was given a name. Moving through this world as children of flame. Whether it wind rains, park benches with mixtapes, bodega doorways where we leave our mistakes, remind me again the definition of a rib cage. I possess a rib cage, not to protect my love from damage, but to restrain a restless language from tearing through me. Again and again and again, I ask for your blessing, your protection. Somewhere at this moment, there are angels roaming Essex. And somewhere at this moment, there's an angel counting seconds. Fallen soldiers, reminiscent of our childhood transgressions. Yo, dear Jersey, thank you for everything that was, is, and will bleed. Will be. The testament written of a history hidden on the East Coast. Thank you, Jersey, for everything that you've given me. The love, the honor, and the shelter that I need most. Thank you for everything. The songs that I sing. Thank you, Jersey. Yo, I got a question, a lesson of introspection. Pick up a pen and pad and let's assess it with discretion. Does a grounded body ever reach ascension, regardless of its stress, tensions, and apprehensions, searching for direction, or searching for the words left in possession of these silhouettes we named as our reflection? Mistaken in question, we lie from the diaspora, confessions of a mind often defined by an anathema. Now, back it up, as the past becomes present. Hope this rap's enough to enact a crass, rapturous slash of gust across maps of dust, turning fact to rust. Present a portrait of presages, then enmesh it with messages, reminiscent of Goya in his prime. Combine oil and sulfur into line, thus rhyme with the boy and sequoias in his eyes. And there's a joy in the demise of contrived lies, peddled as truths by paranoid minds. Stand stoic as the tapestry unwinds, our lives, signatures within the sand, awaiting times. Now imagine the reconstructions of an ad is the mathematical practice of bleeding passions. Since the dawn of the Levant, I've been corresponding with madness, and regardless of your want, this is my time and I'ma have it. Shout out to Bunny Rabbit. Shout out to all the immigrants. You know we got this country in a panic. These bummy fanatics are running these gamuts of drugs, money, assassins, but trust. We just hungry and famished, economically and socially. The soft-spoken chosen breed of low esteem, supposedly. The smoke and steam ain't choking me. Born alone, we forged a home in droves of broken rosaries. I'm potent as the poetry we wrote below the coca leaves. And I'm just spitting facts, sicker than Ipecac when slips into the flask of these aristocrats and diplomats. As I'm sipping, sitting back beneath magnolias, caught in the entrancement of a modern Babylonia. Because once I'm bursting the pistons, subversive verses are written, tourniquets twisted as the firmament shifted. A perfect incision I'll serve within the worst of conditions, reversal of curses, averse to the fission, the first of a vicious return of seditious wordsmiths and witches, nursing division. The churches have risen, this the rebirth of tradition, and I'll further the mission with purpose, conviction, and earnest volition. With words I'm the best and worst in ambition. Observe caterpillars pimped in attrition and absence, riddled in sadness and belittlement. Little has vanished, so I got a final message for all of y'all seeking limitless sensations of a wingspan felt long before the chrysalis. Prisms and chastise the last times I ain't listened. Now I quit with all the dissing. This mission is strictly hinging on something more than superstition. See what I got in store? Doesn't need revision, no second editions. Impressing the best of the critics and testing the limits, addressing all the stress I've kept hidden. Depression's been hitting and prepping for its next exhibition. The weapons I'm picking is blessing both the dead and the living. No end or beginning, detestful for reverent conditions, resentful for wishing the temples I have built will diminish. Let's settle its business, defend the positions of testaments written back in the day, navigating all the wrath and the pain, activating a